Get out of my dorm. Get out. Hey, I'm warning you, do not take another step toward me.
See how they teach the children to treat their guests.
Today we are going to be doing a discussion. Today's discussion is finally going to be about superheroes. We are going to be talking about Ironheart. And I want to have a disclaimer at the beginning. I am not comparing her to a Power Ranger. I don't care about any woke agenda or anti-woke agenda. I am just talking about why this character doesn't work and why the MCU has made it even worse than what it was to begin with. So, in the comic books, Riri Williams is Ironheart. She took over for Tony for a bit when Tony went into a coma. He sent an AI to her because she went on Google, found his fucking Iron Man schematics and made a ghetto suit. And that suit fell apart. So he sent her an AI of himself to teach her how to make a better suit. The suit that he made her looked just like his suit, but feminine. And later on, she would get a redesigned suit, which was pink, and it was actually pretty good. And she became a hero in her own right after Iron Man came back and was the proper main character of the title again. A lot of people don't like Riri Williams. She's kind of presented as a know-it-all. She's kind of presented as a brat. She is one of the smartest people in the world, and a lot of people don't think she deserves it. I'll say this. There has been super intelligent 15-year-olds dating all the way back to Peter Parker. Tony Stark himself was a super gifted teenager. Hell, there was a whole cartoon about that, Iron Man Armored Adventures. This is not a new concept. This is not a new idea. And it is not unique to Riri Williams. My problem with Riri Williams is that she's not an interesting character in the comics. She has hardly any character dynamics with anybody. She hardly talks to anybody. She's a loner, an outcast, and overall an annoying character because of her many faults. Tony is a likable jackass. Riri Williams is a loner character, and because of that, I don't really ever get to know her.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issue with her, and there's a lot of reasons why I'm just not a fan of her. But I think it's really about personality and how a character is written. Because Tony is a jackass for sure, but he's one of my favorite characters. Riri, like you said, is more of a brat, and I just don't fucking like her. She's annoying.
Moving on from her comic book counterpart, I guess we'll talk about what the MCU has been doing recently with these progressive characters and how they've been completely changing them from who they were. Because the MCU wants to push that they're progressive, and the whole point of these characters being made to begin with, and this is true, you can look it up, is so they could later be adapted into movies. But the funny thing is that none of their backstories are being used. Let's talk about Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel, and Miss Marvel ended up getting her own show. They changed her appearance, they changed her powers, they changed her backstory a little bit, and they changed her motivations. Her original motivations was on her identity and her trying to fit in with what society thought they wanted her to be, and she, for a time, tried to pretend to be white. She had struggles dealing with her faith. She had struggles dealing with her image. It was mostly a story of identity and growing up being Muslim. The show ditches a lot of that and really sanitizes her and makes her more like the Marvel family and power set. Instead of being able to stretch her limbs like Mr. Fantastic, she instead has like energy projection abilities. More energy powers like the Captain Marvels of Marvel.
Yeah. I think that fits her better, just because it's weird that she wasn't like that to begin with. She had powers that did not fit her name. Very odd choice.
When they ended up adapting America Chavez, who was introduced as like a space lesbian, kind of like the Steven Universe gang, where she's just from some magical planet in deep space where like everyone's cool and they're like super powerful and lesbian. I'm not even making fun of it. That's literally the premise of her character. I'm not anti-SJW. That is literally the premise of her character. But In the MCU, they made her a lot younger, and they made her more of a kid sidekick character. So they completely changed who she was. They completely changed her whole motivation again. And now we see with Riri Williams, it all comes back around, that they're doing the same thing to her. With Riri Williams, they are introducing her in Wakanda Forever, and it looks like the Wakandans end up giving her technology and help to build her suit. And her suit looks like it has vibranium on it, because the suit has black patches throughout it. So chances are the suit is powered by Wakandan tech and enhanced with vibranium. So it's not an Iron Man suit at all. It's not iron, and it's not built by Tony at all. So instead of having a successor to Tony, which we could have had with Pepper Potts, who was already set up and had her own purple Iron Man suit, or having a successor in Tony's daughter, which that would have been really interesting, or having a successor in his best friend Rhodey, instead we get this random chick who comes out of nowhere, has a suit made by Wakandans or enhanced by Wakandans, and has literally nothing to do with Tony as far as we can see.
Yeah, it's a very odd choice. Like, I get them redoing the characters because they weren't very popular in the comics, or they think that they might just be able to make it more palatable. But making her even more divorced from Iron Man, while still being an Iron Man replacement kind of character, really odd decision. I'm not a fan of it. It makes me even less interested in her, which I didn't think was possible, I'm not gonna lie. I just don't get it, especially because, like you said, there's plenty of other characters that were set up to be replacement Iron Mans and could easily work as interesting Iron Man replacements, but just aren't being used.
So now let's move on to the final gripe, that being the look of the suit. A lot of people have compared her to Power Rangers. A lot of people have compared her to a bunch of different costumed heroes and villains. I would say, if anything, she looks more like a tokusatsu character in general, not just Power Rangers. I get that a lot of Westerner people who complain about this superhero stuff online, that's all they know is 1990s nostalgia. But there are other tokusatsus besides Power Rangers, and I don't think it's fair to just say she looks like a Power Ranger. Power Rangers always have like cloth-looking clothes in the 90s. She has clearly armor. So I think it's more fair to compare her to the armored tokusatsu characters rather than the silly-looking Power Rangers. But moving away from that subject, my main problem with her suit is it doesn't look like an Iron Man suit, and it doesn't look real. Now, what do I mean by that? When it came to the comic books, her original suit was pure silver. It was bulky like Iron Man's original suit. Then, when she got her second suit built by AI Tony, it was red and yellow, just like the typical Iron Man suit. And that's the one that she got a lot of shit for because it just made her look like female Iron Man. Then
I honestly liked that one. I just didn't like the concept of how it came to be.
Then her third suit was pink, and it had the yellow. So it still looked like Iron Man, but a female Iron Man with the pink, and it had like a heart shape. So at least the Ironheart name came into play. Now, with the new suit,
I liked it.
The new suit is a dull red and black. And I think this suit looks terrible. First of all, she doesn't look like Iron Man. She looks like a fucking ladybug. She's got a giant bump on her back that looks like a ladybug shell. She flies from the giant bump on her back, which looks like ladybug wings. She has ladybug color palettes, and she's got tiny squinty bug eyes. She looks like a ladybug. She does not look like Iron Man. She does not look like a Power Ranger. She looks like a robot ladybug. Like, instead of Blue Beetle, we got Miss Ladybug. And that's kind of disappointing because all of her other costumes looked better than this. And my second complaint is, if you look at Iron Man's suit, any of Iron Man's suits, they all look believable. They all look realistic. You can see the little gears on his suit. You can see the screws where the suit attaches. You can see the pistons coming out of the suit. You can see the fucking placements where the suit assembles together. You don't see any of that with Ironheart. Instead, it looks like her suit just magically spawns onto her.
Yeah. Because going back to re-look at the old 2009 Iron Man trailer, I can look at a scene where Iron Man is standing there, and it looks like Iron Man is standing there. He looks real. It looks like if it was real, I could have possibly seen a guy standing there dressed like Iron Man in a full suit that could do all the stuff like in the movie. With Ironheart in her trailer, it looks like I'm watching a movie. She looks like just a CGI model. Her model does not look good at all. She looks really fake, and I think that's a detriment to the character, because we go back to 2009 and it looked really realistic. We go to 2022 and it looks like a cutscene in a video game. Like, not enough effort was put there, or they were heavily limited in what they could do, and they should not be limited.
So, the thing with the original 3 Iron Man movies, and this became a problem later with Iron Man as it kept going, is that, for the most part, Tony's suit was practical effects. It was an actual costume, and a lot of the scenes we saw was him in a real suit that Robert Downey Jr. got in for the shots, and the CGI is built around the suit to enhance it. Very similar to Tom Holland's Spider-Man costume, or Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool costume. Real costumes with CGI enhancements, the way to go. Always the way to go. It looks really, really good. But we can see now with the new Riri Williams suit, it's just pure CGI.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't look good. Because when we first saw it, the first thing I said, it looks just like a CGI model. It does not look like she's actually flying there or standing there or anything. It looks like I'm watching special effects. And watching a movie that's going to pull me out of it. Because in Iron Man, I was really immersed in the story and everything. In Ironheart, if I were to go to, I guess, Wakanda Forever, if I were to go to watch it, because of how the special effects are, I'm going to be drawn out of it, because I'm going to be hyper aware that I'm watching a movie, that everything on screen is fake. Because you gotta make something look realistic to sell it with something like that, and people way before now, like fucking 10 years ago, were doing stuff a lot more advanced to make stuff look real. I think they're just kind of cheaping out, and I think it's part of why, I think she's not getting her own movie. They don't have a lot of confidence in the character.
And I agree with you there. I think that the reason why she's being shoehorned into Wakanda Forever, and the reason why Namor is being shooed into Wakanda Forever, and the reason why America Chavez was shooed into the other fucking, the Doctor Strange movie, is because they have no confidence in these characters. And it's sad, because I don't mind the SJW push. I don't mind the progressive push for these characters, but it seems like Disney has no faith in them, and they just want to shove them out the door so they can say they did it, rather than properly do it. I think that it would be better if these characters actually got their own movies, instead of these low-risk, high-reward projects. Instead of her getting an Ironheart movie and standing on her own, she's going to be in Wakanda Forever just because she's black. Instead of her getting her own fucking show, she's getting shoved into here. And I think she deserves better. I think that fucking, I think that America Chavez deserves better. I think that if you're going to waste your time with these characters, you should at least give them their own thing. Like, I understand why Spider-Man started in Civil War. It's because they didn't know how long they would have Spider-Man, and they had to set up Spider-Man that way because Spider-Man already had a pre-existing non-Disney fucking history. There is no excuse for these characters. These were made by Marvel years ago, specifically so a decade later they could be in movies. And now they're getting cold feet instead of committing to the thing that they decided to do.